Hi, and welcome back to the Odd Gaming Podcast. That podcast where two best friends talk about video games, retro nostalgia, and every single rail that we jump off of. My name is Stuart, and as always, in the first time in 2024, I'm joined by the illustrious Eduardo.
Oh man, it's been a year since you've said that. It's
I
good to
know,
hear that again. I've missed it.
man. I've missed it too. It has been a hot minute since we've done a podcast.
Yeah, just a little. It's just been
You
a
know
little bit.
what? Things happen. We're back on it. It's new year, new us, new year, new podcast. You know how it goes. So,
Oh yeah.
man, we're excited to get started back in this year, kind of get on schedule again. Uh, got some great ideas coming up. So, we're ready
Mhm.
to get back into it, but super excited for this episode. But,
Oh yeah.
man,
It,
how are you today?
I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm smelling food cooking, which is
Mm,
pretty
mm,
excited to eat also after the podcast. So,
absolutely.
podcast and then dinner. It's a great time.
I can't argue with that. Food runs the world, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, food and video games, and that's
That's
all
it.
you need. Food and
That's
video
all you
games.
need. Heck yeah.
All to say
That's
that
it.
I'm doing really good. That's basically
Hey,
what I'm saying
you
is
know
I'm doing
what?
good.
It's podcast day. You've got dinner cooking. You can't
Mhm.
argue with it.
Nope, I can't. What about you? How's your day been? How are you doing?
Man, it's still going good. I've got dinner cooking as well. It's
Mm,
podcast day. Gonna play some God of War after this. So no,
uh,
I mean you can't argue.
oh, no, you can't. That sounds like a great day, great night.
Absolutely.
My
Hey,
my night is gonna be very, very similar, podcast, food, and then video games, maybe more than likely the exact same video game.
hey, I can't argue with it. I mean, you
Yeah,
copied me, but it's still
I
fine.
did.
It's okay.
Yeah, and we actually really didn't intentionally start the game, like, at the same time, it just kinda happened. So, I just
Pretty
have
much.
yeah,
So I mean, we'll let that cat out of the bag. So what are you playing right now? Oh, we're playing God of War
yeah,
Ragnarok. Oh
yeah,
yeah, there you go.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
woo!
woo, yeah. But we're a little late to the party on it, but we just picked up God of War Ragnarok. I've been playing a little bit longer than you have, I think.
Mhm.
I think I'm like 20 hours into the game at this point.
Yeah, you're definitely way further into the game than me. I'm like
Yeah,
maybe 3, 4 hours into the game, so
okay.
I've still
Still got
still
a
got
ways to go.
yeah,
Yeah, that
but
game is just absolutely incredible. I mean, I shouldn't have taken this long to play it, but hey, I'm getting to it now. But wow, this game is incredible.
oh yeah, no, it's been the one of the best 4 hours of my life as far as video
Hey,
games
there you
go,
go.
so I can't
There
complain.
you go.
The first God of War was amazing, and this one is so far just as amazing, if not even more. I'll find out, like, I gotta play more,
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be even more amazing than the other one, and the other one was just
absolutely. I
is a
mean,
ma
the graphics are incredible. The music's insane. I mean, the voice acting and character models are just next level.
Mhm,
Uh, the story is phenomenal. The action and gameplay and like the abilities you can get and the kind of progression you can make through the game when it
mhm,
comes to upgrading armor and weapons and abilities. Like it is just there's so much to do with it,
mhm.
and it all makes a pretty big difference. I mean, we've talked about before. I think a podcast where there's a lot of RPG style games or action games that give you all this equipment, and they you don't really see the benefits of it. Oh, it's a 2 HP bump or it's 5% more damage or whatever. But I feel like in this game too, when you start adding on better armor and adding on better runes and adding stuff to your character, you can really see the benefit of it. And you can
Oh,
really tailor it to your play style really well for a non-RPG like game.
oh yeah, no, 100%. It's, one of those where I agree 100%. Just the way you upgrade your armor and just weapons and just your abilities, it definitely, like, impacts the way the game plays, a lot, so which is really cool. It's, one of those where when I'm up, like I said, I haven't played much, but whenever I'm upgrading the armor, I haven't upgraded much, but what I have upgraded, I just kinda sit there sometimes for a few minutes just to try to figure out what's gonna be the best upgrade for me and the way that I like to play or wanna, play and kinda try and experiment with different ways. So it's fun. I enjoy it, especially since coming off of, like, the Souls-like games. It's been fun just kind of taking my time and just
Yeah.
figuring out what I want to do as far as upgrading my character to
Hmm.
and how I want to experience the game. So it's been fun.
Absolutely. And coming from the Souls games too, I needed something not as, mentally and physically draining.
Oh yeah.
So this game has its challenge. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as punishing. And I'm also not on the hardest level and hardest like difficulty. So bear in mind that. But it's definitely not as punishing and challenging as some of the Souls games. So it's been a refresher
Mhm,
from there as well. Um, but I will say, like, I've been trying to play as much of the game as possible, like with side missions and with collectibles, and we're trying to explore as much of the world as possible.
mhm,
Um, and I will say they do a phenomenal job with the side missions and really adding something to the story. Like I've done probably 6 or 8 side missions at this point, and I felt like most of them have really added to the storyline, have really added to the character development, have really just opened up the world and opened up these characters and opened up the story more than what
mhm,
a lot of other side missions are. Sure, you have the like go collect this and that side missions, but they're almost like a different thing. I can't remember what they call them, but they have like one that's like, oh, go find certain collectibles or certain things in the
mhm,
world, um, all that. But then they also have like actual side missions, which are
mhm.
just offs of stories on different characters, whether it is Kratos or Atreus or whether it is some of the other characters in the game. I just finished up one that goes with one of the side characters and talks about her past and her family and all that. And it was incredibly good. And I'm super happy that I did that side mission
That
because it added like a whole different level to the character. It added a whole different level to the game. The acting was phenomenal in those different cutscenes for it. So I would highly recommend doing as much of the game as possible because I really feel like the game rewards you for it.
Oh yeah, I've done I think maybe 1, 2 side missions. One of them's where I have to go like the the smokestacks or whatever they
Yep.
are. One of the first side missions. I went and did that, but honestly, while I was doing it, I was questioning and I was like, is this actually a side mission or is this a
Yeah.
main story mission? Because it's really good. There's a lot to
Exactly.
the side mission. If this is just a side mission, there's a lot to it. And it was really fun. It took me a while to do. It's probably a
Yeah.
good 30 minutes of
Mhm.
side questing, but it was well worth it. And also just like all the different little things that you can find within the side mission as far as equipment and just items and just, secret collectibles. Yeah, it's very rewarding. So it's been cool. Like I said, I've only played 3-4 hours. You're 20 hours in, but
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it and I'm excited and looking forward to the rest of the game and what it has to offer. And being God of War again,
Absolutely.
we did a podcast over the original God of
Hey,
War,
the
the first
original,
one,
so
and it was
heck yeah.
that game is a masterpiece as well. Like all of them are amazing, and we'll
They're
definitely
incredible.
continue playing the older God of Wars and maybe do some stuff over it. But Ragnarok is so far, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible game. I will say, like, the side mission you're at, the smokestack one, it kind of reiterates a point too, and it gets better and better with the story they create in these side missions. But I love the fact that you're doing this, and when you get into the boat, and I'm trying not to spoil anything with the side mission, but it's pretty early in the game, so it's not too big of a deal. Um, the one of the characters that you're with, Mimir, he basically kind of created these smokestacks and created for these dwarves to just start working. And what I liked was as soon as you destroyed one, you got into the boat and he starts talking, and you can hear the guilt in his voice.
Mhm,
You can hear the guilt that he has about what he's done to this area and this world, and creating these workshops and everything for him. And even like when you start doing the side mission, the game does a really good job of like, hey, you can keep going and doing the main mission, but he even kind of like tries to persuade you. I don't know if
mhm,
you got to that part or not, but I started walking through a side mission and it was something along the lines of like, hey, I really appreciate your help in doing this. Like, I feel bad for doing this so long ago. Can you really help me with it? Like,
mhm.
I'd really appreciate you to take care of this for me. And
Yeah,
I
no.
felt like for a side mission, it adds so much to the game.
Uh,
Like, you know how many games that are out there that are massive that have side missions that I honestly couldn't tell you like what the mission was or why I did the mission,
mhm,
and it added nothing to it. I just did it to either A, try to complete the game 100%, or B, trying to gain, some sort of power up or ability or equipment or something from it.
But Bethesda games, not hating on them, but maybe
Uh,
hating on 'em. Well,
Bethesda.
I'm saying Bethesda,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. But the fact that, like, the story and you're, like, drawn into these characters, and the fact that he's, like, talking about his guilt and talking about why he did it in the past and trying to persuade you and, like, plead you to do this mission. I mean, that for me alone creates such a story
It
and,
does.
like, just it sucks you into the game, not just as a game, but as, like, a storyline and as, like, the characters, and you're seeing a different side of Kratos.
Mhm.
And I like a lot of these side missions are, helping other people with things that they have or problems or whatever. But you're seeing that kind of like, I want to take care of people's side of Kratos. So you don't really see. You saw it a little bit more in God of War 2018,
Mhm.
but I really, and you'll see it more when you get into the game as well and progress. But you just see more and more of it of like, hey, I care about the people that are around me
Mhm.
versus just I'm God of War, I'm Kratos.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's incredible. I mean, it is just the way that they've done that, it just sucks you in. Like, I wanna go play the game right now. Like,
mhm.
for me, no other game has nailed a side mission as much as this game has.
Oh, yeah, it's been cool, like I said, that one time, it was really cool just how, yeah, Mimir is kinda like, he feels guilt, he feels shame in what he's done, and then, you go and you do the mission, and he starts talking to Kratos, and Kratos is, like, actually sympathizing with him, which
I
is
know.
weird because you don't like you said, Kratos was very, like, complete
But in the
opposite. He's the
Kratos
one.
way.
Yeah,
It's still that
he
gruff grunt, like
yeah, it's still very tough love, still very
yeah.
Kratos, but you can tell he's grown a lot since, the
Mhm.
original games, and he's still the same Kratos, but at the same time, he's not. He's learned to empathize. He
Yeah.
knows what it means now to have friendship, to have brotherhood. He calls Mimir, his brother, which is
Yeah.
really cool. Like that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
And honestly,
No, I
Mimir's really
he
one
did
of
a
my favorite
phenomenal job.
characters. Like just
Oh, I love him here.
in the 2018, like sometimes it's fun just being in the canoe and just going through and listening to Mimir talk because you actually learn a lot about the lore
Yeah.
of the whole Celtic lore and the gods and everything, which is really cool. I do enjoy like Greek mythology and just mythology in general. I think it's pretty interesting. So kind of hearing the mythology of more of like Thor and these gods, it's actually really cool. So you kind of get a little history lesson
Yeah.
listening to Mimir, and also just the conversation he has with Kratos' son because he's very close to Kratos' son as well, and he helps raise his son. It's just a really cool dynamic between the three of them, and just also the relationship between Kratos and his son. It's like how far it's come to with his son getting older and just wanting to understand who he is now that he knows where he comes from.
Mhm.
It's a really cool experience. I'm like I said, I'm excited to see where this is going. Um, that they've they're done an incredible job with this game. I can see why it has so
Yeah.
much hype. Like it is
Yeah,
incredible.
there's not anything I can really knock on it at this point. I
Mhm.
mean, the game's incredible from every facet of it. Like we said, like there's for me, like there was one mission that was just a little bit kind of more boring, but not even really, and it was only like 10 minutes, and then it just kicks right back up.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the whole game is just great from an action perspective, from a storyline perspective. I think the flow of the game is one of the best just story flows ever.
Mhm.
Like you were saying, like getting in the boat, and there's never a dull point in the game. Like you go, you go somewhere, you do a mission, you collect something, you go back into your boat. And then there's storylines and there's stuff talking about the area, the world, or talking about the mythology, like you were saying, that's giving you insight on this world, that's giving you insight on these characters.
Mhm.
But I think another really cool thing that they did is they would change I don't know if you've seen a lot of it, but they would change dialogue based off of certain areas that you're in and certain missions that you're going to, where it'd be different in another mission.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's super vague and I don't wanna ruin anything, but there's a missions you can do later on with other side characters, and the dialogue that they have between it is very personable, very different, but just works super well than, like, if you're with someone else.
Mhm.
Like, I don't wanna ruin anything, so I know that was super vague, but it's it's really cool how they did that, and I know I'm harping on the story so much about it, on how incredible, like, the voice acting and the storyline is, but they just did such a phenomenal job with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like it's just like the amount of time and effort that went into that, because like games, and that makes this very different too. Like you've been definitely touching on it, but it's just, yeah, the dialogue. It's it's not repetitive dialogue. Like you play a game, they might say the same thing over and over, have the same
Yeah,
conversation, but or have like a few phrases that they say, whatever. But not this game. This game, it's literal
yeah,
like new dialogue throughout the game so far.
exactly.
Like it's
I
just,
mean, it feels like a conversation. It
yeah,
feels
you're
like you're
literally
part of
just,
the world.
yeah, it's literally just a conversation, and you're hearing them just talk about life and just their
Yeah,
thoughts, that just like in real life, whenever you're hanging out with people, you're just talking. You're talking about your life experiences, kind of what your day's been, what you've been doing, just, and that's what this game does, and it's really cool. So,
oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't wait to keep playing this game, to finish the game, but it's just incredible. I know we're a year late, but
yep.
we had to talk about this game. It's just amazing.
Mhm.
But we'll update more once we get into it, maybe in a couple weeks.
Mhm.
Hopefully, both of us have finished it by then, and
Yep.
we can kind of give our final thoughts on what we think. But
Yeah.
man, anything else you've been playing recently, or even since the last time we talked?
Yeah, right before God of War, I finally beat Spider-Man 2. Also
Nice.
incredible. I would say it's up there as one of my favorite games, and also probably my favorite Spider-Man game that I played so far. It was incredible, and um, so many moments of nerding out in that game. It was like, I'm so happy I finally got to play it. It
Absolutely. I was telling you from the day I got it,
mhm,
you need to pick this game up. You have to play this game. It is absolutely incredible.
mhm,
It is so much fun. Like, I'm usually not someone, and you're not either, someone who'll just go around and do a bunch of the little collectathon stuff and the side quest stuff um, in games. But I found myself just wanting to because I
mhm.
just want to keep swinging.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, it was just a fun game to just kind of like space out and play.
Yeah.
And it was
100.
great. Storyline wise, phenomenal in that game too.
Mhm.
But just such a good game.
Oh yeah. It's one of those, if you love Spider-Man, you love, all the Spider-Man villains and just the characters in the world of Spider-Man, it's pick it up. It's great. It's super
Mhm.
cool. The villains are amazing, and just all the nods to different things in the Spider-Man world is really cool. I'm trying not to give anything away in the game, but it's super super cool. It was amazing, and it's one of those I'll definitely play it again. Just because I need 100% it. I'm really close. I know you
So
did.
close. Yep.
I've got just a few trophies left. I need to figure out how to do one of them. It's gonna be a little tricky, but I'm
You
gonna
got it.
I'm gonna just Google, do a little research, and I'll figure it out. But I definitely want 100% the thing, and it's
Mhm.
just what's really just impressive too about that game. It's just shows the power of the PlayStation 5 is just the transition. Like there's
Oh,
no loading screens. Like you fast travel somewhere, like instant. It's just
that's my favorite feature of
there.
the game.
Yeah. Like, it's
It's
such a smooth
phenomenal.
transition, especially when you're switching between Miles and Peter. Like, it's just a smooth transition. It's like no loading. It just transitions straight into them, to the action, and you're just like swinging or whatever. It's amazing how it does that. Like, I'm just like, it blows my mind away at how that works, and
Oh,
just how
no.
far we've come with video games. Like, before you have like a minute loading screen, but not anymore.
Oh, yeah, there's no load time in that game. I mean, it's just you load into that game and it's pure action, pure whatever you wanna do the entire time,
Mhm.
uh, which is phenomenal. Another one, like you were saying, with, like, all the little nods to different things in the Spider-Man universe and everything, this is one of those, and I think you'll probably agree too, that some of the collectathon stuff is a little monotonous,
Mhm.
but I feel like the end rewards for a lot of those missions is really well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really cool cutscenes and really cool like nods to other stuff that you know could be coming out in the future or other
Mhm.
things in the Spider-Man universe that they nod to that made the whole thing worth it in my opinion at least.
Oh, yeah. I agree. There's definitely one cutscene that I I got very excited about. I'm sure
Mhm.
you did too. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna
Exactly
say
which
it,
one.
but whenever I saw it, and it finally clicked. I was like, "Oh crap! I this is I need this now."
Oh, I fangirl screamed when
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
happened. So
Oh yeah. So because there's things that we've talked about that were like, well, I'm hoping we see this or see this happen in
yep,
the game, and it definitely
it
did.
got mentioned. It got mentioned.
Yeah,
So
it got mentioned, so I'm very
fingers
excited.
crossed.
Yeah, so very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, that's such a good game. Sony
Mhm.
just knocks it out of the park when
Oh
it
yeah.
comes to just immersive first person or one player games.
Mhm.
They just do such a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah. No, they knocked it out of the park. It's
Yeah.
uh, and there's still so much more to come from Sony. So you know.
Oh yeah, tons. Like Spider-Man 2 was a really fun time. It was an easy game to kind of get into. The combat was great. I mean, if you like the first Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all those, it's that amped up a bunch of notches. It's
Mhm.
just so good. It's definitely worth the play.
Oh yeah, and just it's cool seeing just the relationship between Peter and Miles and just how they interact. And also it has kind of that somewhat like God where just different conversations, and it's just you really do get attached to the characters and just even the side characters. Like there's just so much to them. They all add something, I feel, to the game, and they
Mhm.
bring their own thing. So that was really cool too. And I was surprised some of those side missions actually hit me in the feels, which was
Oh,
crazy.
they tug on the heartstrings.
Was not expecting to almost to like want to cry on some of those side missions, but I did.
There
I was
was
like,
some
wow,
that they were deep.
they were very deep. Was not expecting it, especially from a Spider-Man game, but they did it and it
They did it.
worked very well. So kudos to them on that.
Anyway, any others you've been playing?
So it did that. Let's see. Also, I did Liza P. I was on that. We were both on that game for a while.
Yeah.
Beat that.
Finally, yeah, you beat that. I don't
Finally,
think that's been publicly announced on the podcast.
it hasn't
So
been publicly announced, but I
yeah, yeah.
did beat Liza P. I'm very proud. I'll go back to that game one day, but there's other games that I want to do right now.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah, that was one of those where I really wanted to throw my controller across the room, but
Multiple times.
multiple times, which yeah, I'm sure I know you did too, and but
Definitely.
we did it.
Absolutely. That's one I'm definitely gonna probably revisit whenever the DLC comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've already announced they're working on DLC. So whenever the DLC comes out, I might do a second playthrough on the new game plus on the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then do the DLC after that. But
Yep.
who knows? We'll see what's out and what I've played and haven't played before that point. But
Oh yes. But yeah, Liza P. What else have I played? I played a little Conker's Bad Fur Day just to play
yeah.
something stupid and mindless, just mindless violence.
Oh, that's a
That
good
was
game.
it's good.
It hasn't aged super well, but it's a good game.
Oh, it is. Oh, the camera. It is horrible. I've died so many times because of the camera, which is
Oh yeah.
part. Then which that's just part of the games around that time. The camera was just horrible. Just jumping and trying to land on things. I end up just falling to my death. But so I'm just. Oh man, yeah, I got frustrated just doing that. But fun game. It's hilarious. Definitely not for kids. Or maybe, it
Oh
depends.
no.
Whatever.
Eh,
But
it,
you know,
it depends, but probably not.
yeah, probably not. You
Yeah,
know.
it got its mature rating for a reason.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You just can't go wrong. Rare games were incredible games back. They had some incredible games. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Conkers. That's I think another one. I'm trying to think what else did I play after Liza P. Conker's Bad Fur Day, Spider-Man, God of War. I still haven't beat Zelda yet. That'll happen
Okay.
one day.
That'll happen eventually.
Yeah. Uh, I think that's kind of the main things I played. What about you?
Man, a lot of the same games. I played Spider-Man 2 as soon as it came out, 100% in platinum that, which phenomenal game. Liza P. Kind of over the Christmas time. I hadn't finished it yet because I had some glitching on my PC, unfortunately, with the save data. But it was an indie game called Cookie Cutter. And I think I told you a little bit about it, but
Mm,
it is a really cool game. Great art style, kind of like edgy, steampunky vibes. You play as this android that's basically trying to go after the people that created her. It's a Metroidvania style game, but it's a lot of fun. It's over the top, it's quirky, it's crazy, it's edgy. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to play, but then my save data had some issues and Steam was being weird, and I need to go back to it and fix that and figure that all out. But I got about 10 hours into the game or so, but that one, hopefully all that will figure itself out because I want to finish that game. That one's been a ton of fun.
Yep.
So that one I did start, and I'm probably going to go back to it, but I got frustrated was I did start Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and that is a freakishly difficult game.
Yeah, I watched you play it whenever I was visiting you over
Oh,
Christmas, New Year.
yeah. During New Year's, yeah.
Yeah, you died a lot.
It is freakishly hard. And you saw me die on a mini boss.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Liza P mini bosses were rough. Sekiro's are absolutely brutal. And I'm only on like the second, probably third main boss of the game. And they have been insanely difficult. Like the second boss I faced, I probably died, I don't know, 70, 80 times.
Mm-hmm. That is.
It is just, it's an amazing game. It's an incredible game. But it is just so like parry based and so aggressive based that it makes it difficult if you're one that wants to just do a couple whacks and then run away and then wait for an attack and then do a couple more whacks and run away. The game is not set up for that, and you're going to fail. So you have to be aggressive, but your parrying has to be on point too. So it's very like you got to learn the rhythm of the bosses. You have to be very alert. It's an incredible game, but you definitely have to be in the mood for that game and have to be focused on that game. But playing through that, I'm going to pick that one back up probably after be God of War, maybe a couple others, and get through Sekiro. But I mean, it incredible. It's just extremely difficult.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely play that game one day. I'm probably gonna wait a little bit, because I know if you're having trouble, I'm definitely gonna have trouble playing that game.
It is,
so, you know.
Yeah, it's fun. Like it's the same thing with like any of the Souls-like games, where you're having a huge struggle with a boss. Once you finally beat that boss or figure him out, I mean, it's a super rewarding feeling. But the range of emotion you go through to get to that point is just it wears on you a little bit. So you definitely have to be in the mood for those type of games too. But that's one I'm definitely gonna get back into. Another one, same thing. I need to get back into is Wulong Fallen Dynasty.
Oh yeah, I need to get back.
Start playing that one too. I'm about a quarter of the way through the main game, I believe, and that's an awesome game too. I mean, that is super fun. Still Souls-like style game. Great combat. I feel like the parrying is definitely easier to parry than like Liza P. But Liza P was extremely difficult to parry, in my opinion.
It's that parry window is just like barely existent.
Crazy tight. Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy tight, but yeah, it's not as bad. But yeah, that's another game I need to get back into is Wulong. But other than that, God of War's been kind of the main one I've been getting into recently. Picked up a bunch of stuff during the winter Steam sale that I'm going to play at some point in my life.
Yeah.
Eventually, hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of about it, man. But kind of want to talk about, since it's been a while since I've done a podcast, it's a little bit later in January, but we definitely want to talk about kind of our favorite things in 2023. Because I know a bunch of people have talked about it, and we've talked about it before on just how incredible 2023 was for gaming.
Amazing.
I mean, some of the greatest games have come out in 2023. It was a star-studded year. I'm going to be playing games on my backlog from this year for the next couple years.
Yeah.
I mean, this year was just absolutely insane. But I kind of want to hear kind of what was your favorite game you played this year that came out in 2023, but also what was your favorite game you played that maybe didn't come out, if it is different in 2023?
That didn't come out, just come out whenever?
Yeah, so what's your favorite game that came out last year in 2023, but also what was your favorite game that you played last year, if there is one, that did not come out in 2023, so 2022 or sooner, or in the past?
Yeah. Let's see. Right now, I would say game that came out 2023. I'd say right now still Liza P right now is my
Yeah.
2023. It was basically my first time to play a Souls-like game, and it just changed my life. It it's now opened up so many doors. Like, I didn't realize I would love that style of gaming as much as I do,
Mhm.
but I do. It's challenging, it's rewarding, it's frustrating, but it feels so good to just like beat, the just one, the story is incredible, the music's incredible, but just the enemies and just the unique style on how all the enemies fight and just the mini bosses, the bosses, it was incredible. It's such an immersive game and such a cool take on the story of Pinocchio. And
Mhm.
just from this little studio that basically came out of nowhere, they
Yeah.
rocked it, and they get that's my personal game of the year is Lies of P for 2023. Trying to think game that came out not in 2023 that I've played. Oh man. It's, uh,
You don't have to have one. If it's different,
oh,
sure, but if it's the same thing, then I mean,
I
you can just
forgot one
say
game that I played that came out in 2022, and I completely forgot I played, but I actually really enjoyed it. I don't remember. I think it was 2022 and I played it, but
okay.
I still really enjoyed it. Was Tiny Tina's Wonderland? That was actually a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
that was
yeah. You love that game.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was if you like Borderlands, you just like really funny humor. It's a
Mhm.
great game. So yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I need to actually go back and play through it. I think there's probably some new stuff on there that I haven't touched yet. So um, yeah, I'd say that May for 2022. Also, I can't really remember everything from 2022, but
Oh, I know.
yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That's the one that popped into my head. So we'll go
There you
Tiny
go.
Tina's Wonderland.
Awesome. Yeah, that I've heard great things about it. I know you've been talking like crazy about it. I just it's not on my list unfortunately right now. So
Yeah, and it's okay. There's so many other games that you can put that game on hold. So it's
oh
all
yeah.
good. What about you? Same question.
Okay. So copycat a little, but for me it was Liza P. That's still my favorite game of 2023. Um, now I've played most of the big games that came out that year. I didn't play Baldur's Gate. Actually, it was a weird one. I tried to play it for about 2 hours and I didn't like it, so I returned it. Baldur's Gate for me just it's not my style of game. It's probably an incredible game. The story's probably amazing. I mean, it deserves every award it probably got. It's just not for me. So that's not on my list for it. But yeah, Liza P was just a phenomenal game. I won't go too much into it because you already said it, and we've talked a whole episode about Liza
Yep.
P. But I just think they nailed everything from gameplay to progression to music to storyline to world development. I mean, it felt as close to a From Software game as anybody else has done.
Mhm.
Um, and I just absolutely loved it. Like it was the one of the more I don't put a ton of time into games like the same game because I want to play so many different ones. I'm not one to 100% games as much unless I really like a game.
Mhm.
That's why I do want to go back to that game and try to get more stuff. But the 50 plus hours I put into it did not feel like that. I
Yeah.
just love that game no matter how punishing it was. That was definitely my favorite game that came out last year in 2023 of that year. Now, game that I played that didn't come out in 2023, so 2022 or before, would be Bloodborne. When I played Bloodborne this year, and I think it was the same thing that you were saying with Liza P. That it opened up like a whole world for you. And for me, that was the same thing with Bloodborne. Like going through that, I did 100% platinum on that one. We've talked about that before in the podcast too. It just opened up a whole new world of these style of games, these FromSoft games, these Souls-like games, these action RPG style games. And I think that's why I got so hyped up for Liza P. And I think I got you hyped up for it too. And I think it turned you into someone who really likes these games now
Oh
too.
yeah, 100%.
And I for me, I credit that all to Bloodborne. And I know I'm late on the party with it, but that game, I still think about that game, and still think about stuff that I just loved about the game. It's just so incredible. It would be one I'd probably play again at some point. I would love if they did a remaster of it because I would definitely play it again that way. But for me, that would have to be my non game that came out last year game of the year
Yeah.
that I played. But yeah, it was the same thing, like how Liza P just opened that whole world up for you.
Mhm.
Now I just want to. That's why I'm getting into like Sekiro's and Wulongs, and eventually Neo 2s and some of the games that we're going to talk about a little bit later that I'm excited for 2024 that kind of follow that same path. It's just they're punishing. They make you question why you're playing those games
Oh
sometimes.
yeah. Yep.
But the story is incredible. If they do a credible story, incredible world, and satisfying combat, and
Mhm.
just that rush you get when you beat that boss you've been stuck on for hours and you keep dying to, and you finally stick your sword at him and kill him. I mean, that rush is just unparalleled in the video game world, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. And also while you're talking, I'm just kind of looking through the list of games that came out in 2023 just because there's so many. I keep on
Oof.
forgetting all the different games that came out. It's incredible. It's
Yeah, it's insane.
overwhelmingly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane.
I keep on forgetting Hogwarts Legacy came out 2023, but
Yeah, it came out in January.
yeah, yeah, January, yeah, early
Mhm.
2023. That was a game too. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game.
I
Um,
still need to play that one.
yeah, it's great. If you like Harry Potter and just it's a very fun, immersive game. If you're into the Harry Potter, they did amazing job. The old Harry Potter games, that the original one is a lot of fun. There's a lot of bad ones that came out too, but there's some great Harry Potter games too, like old ones that came out back in the day. But
Oh yeah,
Hogwarts Legacy is really it was a lot of fun, and obviously Zelda, that would probably be a runner up for me as well.
definitely.
Spider-Man 2, and yeah.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2 would be my second one. I
Mhm.
remember, hey, Resident Evil 4 remake came out
Oh
too
yeah, Resident Evil 4, that was fun.
this
I need
year.
to go back and play all the bonus content that's on there.
The
That's the free
DLC that came
that
out, yeah.
DLC, yeah. So
Metroid Prime Remaster came out last year too.
mhm. Oh, yep, I got that.
Yep.
Still have not beat it. I beat the original ones, but not the
Yeah,
not the remake.
that's okay.
You got that. What else can Wulong
I
Blood?
will say this year was an insane year for indie games too.
Mhm.
Like there were so many indie games that came out that I've got downloaded that I'm waiting to play. But there was, I mean, some insane ones like Dave the Diver.
Oh, yeah, I still need to play
Took
that
the world
game.
by storm. My wife finally beat it,
No.
and she loved that game just because it's a little bit of everything. Like she's not a huge gamer either, but it's like it's exploration. There's combat. There's bosses. There's a restaurant sim. There's a crazy storyline. There's cinematics. I mean, it's just all the cool bits of games that we love smashed into one.
Mhm.
And she loved that game. There's a couple. Cookie Cutter came out really late in December, but it was technically 23. That one kind of came out of nowhere, and I've been really enjoying that one. Um, Another one I have downloaded, I need to play. I heard it's kind of a cool chill game called Dredge. Um, it's basically like a boating game where there's different storylines and different collecting and progression and stuff there. But I hear that one's super cool. Uh, but
So
I mean, there's some incredible games that came out indie wise too. I mean, the indie studios are getting insane.
mhm.
I mean, the games that they're coming out with are so much fun, and they're getting better and better every year with these little indie studios.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, so I mean, I look forward to seeing what else comes out indie wise in the next year or two.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, indie studios, it's incredible. I remember when indie studios just kind of started hearing about 'em. I think it was maybe college time frame is, I think, when I really started noticing indie studio games kind of slowly coming out. There really wasn't a lot of them, but a few, and now
So
it's
that's
just
when Xbox really started because they started with the I'm trying to remember the name of it, but Xbox 360 in that era really pushed like the indie developers.
mhm.
And that's where you got a lot of these indie games like Braid, Scott Pilgrim Saves the World. stuff like that that came into limelight, and then PlayStation started to kind of jump on that trend too.
Hmm.
Uh, but I feel like the progression then really shot off indie games. But the
Yeah,
last few years, I mean, there's people's games of the year that are indie games at this point.
the fact
I
that you
mean,
now have an indie award show is
yeah.
like that used to not be a thing, but now it's just there's a award show for indie games, and they
Hmm.
they deserve it because they come out with incredible games. Sometimes their games are way better than just like your big mainstream like
Absolutely.
studios. It's just they're little studios and they're giving it all they got because they're trying to come out with some incredible games. And then the some of the best like Liza P. They no, I had
Yeah.
no idea who they were.
Small
But
studio.
small studio. Now look at them. They've set
Yeah.
themselves up for success. So yeah, it's just like you never know what
Yep.
what what's uh what the next big game is going to be. It could come from just a little small little indie studio.
And I think that's fine because you get a lot of these places or people that go to these big, companies that make games. And I mean, a lot of their games are great or they're just pushing stuff every year, whatever. But you get these people that just are so creative and so talented that just create their own studio with a couple of their friends, a couple of their employees, whatever, and create these amazing games. And you can feel more of that passion with it
Mhm.
with those games where they're putting everything into it because they're not being creatively restricted.
Yep.
They're making the game that they really want to make.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I like because they're fun. They're not these big AAA 80-hour, whatever. They're just fun. And you can
Yep.
tell what the developer and what the few people that are on these teams really meant to do with these games.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and I mean, I love them because those are kind of like a lot of time they're little bite-sized games. I can pick it up on my Steam Deck or whatever and play 30 minutes an hour
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
while I'm going to sleep or whatever, and put some time into a game. But they're fun, and I catch myself, staying up way too late and playing them for 4 or 5 hours.
Oh yeah. It
That
happens.
problem, but they're phenomenal games, and I can't wait to see what indie games come out this year and the rest of the indie games I've missed the last few years. I need to replay, but
Yeah, and I definitely was gonna say just what's also just fun and cool about indie games is they're not the longest games in the world, so they're great to just just 30 minutes, an hour, or something. You can
yep,
just knock it out, but they're just really fun games to play. And like I said, they're not huge games that it takes forever and you have to like super focus and things like that. You can just play casually and have a great time. So
absolutely. Now we're gonna go to 2024 real quick, but the last thing I want to mention in 2023, and it's a weird one, so bear with me. But we came back to the bad licensed video game.
hmm
It's been dormant for so long. It sounds weird, but you have games like King Kong, you have games like The Walking Dead, Gollum that
oh
came
yeah,
out that are just not good at all. Like those games wouldn't even pass in the PS3 era of gaming. But
yeah,
it's kind of like, I don't know, a weird nostalgic boost of like, oh, there's the bad licensed games again. Like we haven't seen those in such a long time, and they're here. Whether you
yeah,
like them or not, they're back. In console form and not just mobile form. But
yeah.
I thought it was a funny thing with 2023, like having some of the best games ever to come out, and especially in one year. I mean, just a phenomenal year. But then you have just a bad licensed video game come back in the same year. It's just kind of like the cherry on top for me, at least.
Oh yeah, you got to have those really horrible
Hmm.
horrible badly licensed. Yeah. I completely forgot about Gollum and King Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, that one wasn't very well received.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about Gollum supposed to be amazing or whatever. I don't even know. I
Of
heard,
course.
but yeah. Then I saw a gameplay and I was like, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
this is bad.
that's horrible. But hey, you never know
Yep.
that. Sometimes those games develop a cult following, and then years later, who knows? They might be those games that are worth like $200-300 in the future, even though they're horrible. You never know.
You
There's
see it. Unfortunately, you see it all the time, so it's
yeah,
possible.
it's possible. I forgot what's that one game that you got during Thanksgiving. It's kind of like a shooter.
Oh, Wanted Dead.
Yeah, yeah,
I need to keep playing through that. It's kind of hard because the controls aren't great, and it definitely made a lot of people's worst games of the year.
Mhm.
but it kind of goes back to the 360 PS3 era of just like the crazy over the top action game.
'Cause I know you really from you enjoy
It's
those certain
fun.
types of games. You play those, yeah, from like
Oh yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
college, like
I
I was
literally this year
yeah.
have on my shelf to play this year. Games like Wet, like Stranglehold, that were just these over the top kind of cinematic action games. So I do like that style, and it's actually a fun game.
Mhm.
Um, but the combat's definitely a little bit more difficult than it should be, just because of how they built the game.
Mhm.
Versus just a difficulty spike in it. So that's kind of hard to get past. But other than that, it's just I mean, I don't think it deserved the 3s and 4s that it got. Maybe a 5 or a 6, but I mean, it's fun
Yep.
when I'm not getting destroyed by, enemies that shouldn't be destroying me because my parrying doesn't work correctly. But, you know, it happens.
Oh, yeah, we got The Day Before. Is that
Yeah. I believe so.
is that the game that IGN gave a 1?
Yeah, The Day Before is the game that had this massive promise of being this amazing, super big scope, like MMORPG style game, and came out, and I think everyone gave it a 1. It was basically unplayable. And then that weekend, they ended up closing the studio down.
That is just blowing
And
my
now
mind.
the servers, I think, as of we're recording today, the servers have been officially shut down.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Because didn't you tell me too that people working on the game weren't even getting paid, right? They were just working for free.
Pretty much. Like apparently, like they were struggling for the longest time, just because they made this game that was just such a large scope that they couldn't achieve, and it's been pushed many, many times. It's been like the date's been pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally came out and was just unplayable from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so bad that a studio had to close a couple days later, and then the server shut down in less than a month
It's sad
after it came out.
whenever IGN gives a Superman 64 a higher rating than
Mm-hmm.
the day
Well,
before.
Super Smash 64 was playable.
Yeah, it was playable.
Apparently, this game you couldn't even play.
Yeah, because Superman, I think they gave it a 3, maybe,
I
but
think there's a
not a
3 or
1.
4.
Yeah, 3.
No.
Yeah,
So playable, just terrible.
so 2023. What we're trying to say is a very memorable year. Lots of great games, and
Uh,
then hot garbage.
Pretty much. Which makes the perfect video game year, in
Oh
my
yeah, you
opinion.
got.
But
Oh yeah, it reminds me of just being in college, high school, just whenever you had all these incredible games coming out, like on the 360
mhm.
and play like it just reminded me of being back in college for sure, and just like being excited for all these games. Except now I actually have money that I can actually buy the games, unlike in college where I
Oh,
was
yeah.
broke. So what you did, you
Way
just
better.
if you couldn't buy it, you just waited and went to Hastings or
Oh, yeah.
wherever and rented the game.
That was the days you could do that, but,
Yep.
you know, things move on, but we shouldn't live in the past too much.
Yeah.
Let's look at the future a little
Yeah.
bit.
Future. The
Let's see. What are Give me a couple games that you're looking forward to for 2024.
One that popped in my head just because I love them. I am looking forward to the new South Park video game, Snow Day.
Oh,
I think
yeah?
that'll be a
No
fun
day.
game. They've always knocked it out of the park with South Park. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Nah.
Uh,
Nah.
uh, um, so South Park. Um, what else? Not Suicide Squad. Actually,
Uh, that's
I was
that's
excited for it, but not anymore. So
uh, I'm
I'll still
I'm hoping that it ends up being okay at least, where I pick it up when it's a discounted game, but everything and I mean a bunch of places have already started playing the pre-alphas and stuff like that, and I've heard it's just a money grab live service game, unfortunately. I heard the storyline's kind of cool.
yeah.
Might be worth playing for the storyline, but I heard the combat's just kind of not very inventive.
Yeah.
Which is really disappointing because I mean the Arkham games were incredible. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people had high hopes for this game because Rocksteady was doing it, but
Mhm.
maybe it'll surprise us. Who knows?
Maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, South Park. One game that I just saw the trailer that I'm actually curious and I hope it's good. But the new Indiana Jones game, I'm actually um curious about that one. So I'm kind of looking forward to Indiana Jones to see what that's going to be like. So I don't know when that comes out, but come out sometime.
I love the gameplay trailer that they came
Yeah, it
out with.
looks great,
I
and
think
I
the
love
third person works
yeah.
well.
Yeah, and Indiana Jones, great movies. The old ones, great. They're fun movies. Um, so Indiana Jones. I'm trying to think what else. I've just got 2023 games stuck in my head.
Oh,
So
I know.
I'll let you think of what you're looking forward to, and if anything else pops up, I'll let you know. But right now, yeah, I've just got
Easy.
2023 games stuck in my head.
I've got two, and they're both actually Souls-like games, so bear with me. But one of them is coming out in August, and that's Black Myth Wukong. And I think I've told you about that one. That's the one with like the Chinese lore and everything with it.
Yes.
That one looks
Oh
absolutely
yeah, I forgot
incredible.
I saw the trailer for you after he told me, and it looked
Yeah.
amazing. Yes.
So that one I'm 1000% excited for. That one comes out in August. But before that, I'm excited for this one because the Team Ninja game who did like the Neo games, Rise of the Ronin, which I think is supposed to be a PS5 exclusive right now. But that's another like Japanese samurai Souls-like style game. And that one looks really, really good. And with Team Ninja doing it, they do usually a phenomenal job with that
Mhm.
style. So I have nothing but high hopes for that game. Uh, but as of right now, games that have a date that I'm thinking of, those are probably my two biggest: Black Myth Wukong and Rise of the Ronin.
Mhm. Yeah, I think 2024 is gonna have some great games. I don't think it'll be
Definitely.
2023, but there's definitely gonna be some great games. One, I don't know if it comes out. I don't think it comes out this year, but you told me about it, and I looked it up, and it's the Sega game remasters.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that.
I don't know if that's going to be this year or not.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
haven't.
it's
They
this
showed
year.
some little
Yeah,
like trailers, but
yeah,
no release
I
dates or
don't think it'll
anything.
be this year, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. That'll be
Yeah.
fun because also the Sega technically was like Genesis was my first console that I officially had. Um, so that kind of can't go wrong. There's some great Sega games back in the day. Well,
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a really cool one at the Game Awards that I was
mhm,
very hyped for because the little snippets they played looked really good.
yep,
And I was a huge Crazy Taxi fan back when it
yep.
came out. So seeing that in like full HD, like great graphics, I was like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, that one was super cool, definitely. But unfortunately, no release date yet on
it's
any
okay.
of those. So I hope we get one or two of them this year. That'd be freaking awesome. But
Hmm.
I'll hold my breath on that.
Yep.
But
But
man, 2023 was an incredible year, gaming wise. 2024 has a lot to live up to, but super excited for it. There's already some great games on the list for it, but probably more going to be announced throughout the year. So we'll definitely be playing and talking about those throughout the year
hmm.
on the podcast. Definitely happy to be back in the
Oh
podcast
yeah,
as well
it's great to be.
in 2024. It's going to be a great year for it. So, man, I think that's good. But you have anything else before we kind of sign off?
I do not. It's just great to be back doing the podcast. Missed it. Looking forward to gaming in 2024. It's going to be fun, and yeah, just keep on listening. We'll have some new stuff coming out here soon. So yeah, great to be back. That's all I've got.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, thank y'all so much for listening. Happy New Year. I know it's a little late, but definitely Happy New Year from my gaming to you. We definitely appreciate y'all listening and coming back to us after the little bit of hiatus that we had. But we're definitely going to try harder to have a podcast as close to it every single week as possible. So
Mhm.
definitely stay with us. We're definitely excited too. We definitely have some great ideas. We love doing this. So thank y'all so much for listening. Until next time, peace out and game on.
Peace.